Hello, and welcome to the Professional Procrastinator Podcast. I'm your host, Rohit Rohila, and if you're tuning in, chances are you're ready to turn the page on your procrastination habits. Each episode is a step towards action. No guilt, just positive energy and better strategies. Let's jump in and make procrastination a thing of the past. Hello, friends, and welcome back to another episode of the Professional Procrastinator Podcast. I'm your host, Rohit Rohila, and thank you so much for joining me as we dive into the fun, exciting world of procrastination. That sounds ridiculous. But on today's episode, we are going to talk about what procrastination is. We're going to explore this topic that actually isn't as clear as most people think. So first off, what is procrastination? I can tell you that when I talk to most people, they don't really associate themselves as having a problem with procrastination. In fact, when they point out the areas that they do procrastinate in their life, it's usually centered around chores. Things like, I know I should mow the lawn, or I need to clean the house more often. I should probably vacuum more often. But it's a lot deeper than that. And the problem stems from the fact that each of us has our own unique definition of what procrastination is. And that's where the problem lies, because if we all have our own definition, it leaves it open to interpretation. And the underlying thing is we don't want to paint ourselves in a negative light. And so when we define procrastination, we look at what other people do, compare it to ourselves, and we say we aren't as bad as them. Therefore, I don't really have a problem with procrastination. They'll often compare themselves to extremists when it comes to that. Examples can be people who procrastinate when it comes to lawn maintenance. You know, if your grass is a foot high, they'll consider that. They'll consider hoarding a extreme version of procrastination, as well as people who fail to pay their bills on time. So most people will take a look at these negative behaviors and say, I'm not to that level, therefore I don't suffer from procrastination. However, when it comes to procrastination, there are other examples that are more subtle, behaviors that all of us do consistently without even thinking about the negative effects that they have on us. Some examples include not being able to say no to others, taking on too many projects, not doing things in defiance, spending time on social media, binge watching, perfectionism, and not setting regular medical or dental appointments. Again, we all suffer from various degrees of procrastination, but it affects us all in varying degrees. There are some people who are so critically affected by procrastination that it paralyzes their growth and their desire for self-improvement. And there are others who don't have it to such a degree, but it still holds them back from living the ideal life that we all think that we want. So when it comes to procrastination, what really is at the heart of it? And that is focusing on things that are less important. It's a failure to hold ourselves accountable to behaviors and actions that align with our long-term goals. So we can say that we want certain long-term goals, but if we don't focus on the short-term goals that are going to get us there, that's when we fall into the trap of procrastination. It really takes a long-term goal and a short-term goal to have an ideal life. You need the long-term to lay out what the roadmap is going to look like. And you need the short-term goals to set up the action items that are going to get you there. Without a balance of these two, you're going to live an unfulfilled life. If you're only focusing on today, then time is going to pass by so quickly. Before you know it, you're going to look back and say, what have I done with all this time? I've just wasted it. But if you only look down the road and not focus on today, then you're going to lose living in the moment. You're not going to be present, and that's going to hold you back. So what happens is we all fall back on three main behaviors when it comes to procrastination. Anytime that we are uncertain about what our goals should be, anytime we don't have an active to-do list, anytime we don't know what we need to do with ourselves, we're going to fill it up. We're going to fill up that time with one of three behaviors. Either something that's pleasurable, something that's comfortable, or something that's convenient. So all three of those things are things that we fall back on when we don't essentially know what to do. So take a look at it. If somebody asked you if you had 1 free hour, what would you do? You could do anything you want. A free hour all to yourself. And most people would say, maybe I'd go on a nice walk. I'd read a book. I would go exercise. I'd prepare a nice meal for myself. But here's the thing. You do have an extra hour every day, but you fill it up. Again, relying on things that are pleasurable, comfortable, or convenient. Think about how often you reach for your phone without even thinking about it. I know for myself, this happens all the time. So much so that now I place my phone in a different room whenever I need to get work done. Because what would happen was subconsciously, I would just reach for it without even thinking about it. And that happens to all of us. Think about how many times you are watching a TV show while you're on the phone. Are you even looking at, or are you even watching the TV program? Or are you just on your phone? It's this distraction that we have become accustomed to. And what happens is because our brain is focusing on so many different things, you're focusing on the noise of the TV. You are half looking at the TV. You are paying attention to your phone. You are physically interacting with your phone. Your brain becomes a bit of a mush. It doesn't know what to concentrate on. And so even these behaviors can be traumatic when it comes to long-term focus. And what happens? We'll take a look at what we did throughout the day, throughout the week, throughout the month, throughout the years. And we say, where did the time go? I feel like I didn't accomplish that much. And now comes the negative effect of procrastination. You're going to start feeling guilty. You're going to get frustrated, overwhelmed. You're going to feel powerless in your own life. Some could reach a sense of depression, a lack of energy. You could feel paralyzed, feeling like you don't have as many choices available to you. And what's the ultimate result? Wasted time, missed opportunities, increased stress, decreased productivity, but even more painful than all those combined, unrealized dreams. So as we wrap up this episode of the Professional Procrastinator podcast, procrastination isn't as simple as we all think it is. It's a lot more than just putting off today what I can do tomorrow. Because looking back, how many times have you promised yourself that? Tomorrow I'm going to do this. Tomorrow I'm going to plan that vacation. Tomorrow I'm going to start going to the gym. We make these bold declarations, especially around New Year's Eve, that starting January 1st, we are going to change things up. From now on, our lives will never be the same. We're determined. But then a few weeks into the year, we're right back where we started. And the reason isn't as simple as procrastination, but really changing your behaviors. And that's what this podcast is going to be about, is we aren't going to just give you simple strategies, but it's really about how do we shift your mindset to go from a reactive mindset when it comes to procrastination to a proactive mindset when it comes to procrastination. So once again, thank you very much for joining us on this episode. Thank you for spending your time with me. Hopefully it wasn't just another form of procrastination. I'm Rohit Rohila, thanking you and reminding you that sometimes later becomes never. So do it now. You deserve it.